Okay. Hi everyone. So for my article that I want to reteach to you guys or that I chose was ESL pullout. And what is ESL pullout? ESL pullout is generally used in elementary school settings. Students spend part of the school day in a mainstream classroom but are pulled out for a portion of each day to receive instruction in English as a second language. So basically, to put it into shorter words, is that ESL students are pulled out in a general class and um are in a different room in a different classroom that just focus on the ESL, that teachers focus on ESL students. And that's that. Um, Next slide. Okay. Why is ESL pullout important for ESL students? There were three things that I thought that were really important. And one of the first bullet point is instruction in small groups. So one major benefit of pullout in ESL teaching is that it takes place in small groups, allowing students to receive increased attention from the teacher and have more opportunities to practice speaking while providing answers. Any hesitant students who avoid participating actively will be encouraged to join the conversation. Importantly, students are less likely to become distracted during these lessons due to the reduced activity compared to a larger classroom setting. So basically, for small groups, because when students are pulled out, there's not a lot of students that are getting pulled out, but it's just a small group, and I feel like that's really important because those students are going to have that confidence with the teacher because they're going to be able to ask questions that are maybe afraid to ask the general ed teacher. And so the ESL teacher will be able to answer those questions, and they'll have the more confidence in them to help them in the classroom. And so I feel like that was really important. And I think it also mentions any hesitant students who avoid participating actively will be encouraged to join the conversation. And I feel like it's really important because sometimes the ESL students will have like a opinion they want to give to the main teacher, but then are afraid to speak out or even participate in assignments in the regular classroom. So even by having the small groups, it definitely boosts their confidence and actively participating in class and doing more of that and in the ESL pullout. So I thought that was really important. And the second bullet point is targeted instruction. So basically here teachers are able to develop a better understanding of their students and promptly pinpoint specific problem areas for each one. This allows students to receive more helpful feedback and gives teachers numerous chances to give examples of key language structures, adjusting their speech to suit the student's proficiency level, focusing on improving their language abilities to greatly aid individual students in learning English faster. And I thought this was really important because usually if students are or if students have a question, they'll have that confidence with the ESL teacher to ask them, and that ESL teacher can give them feedback, and that's really important for the ESL students because that'll improve their English and even advance their knowledge more in the classroom. So I thought that's really important. And also, when I talk about focusing on improving their language abilities, greatly aids individual students in learning English faster. This gives a better opportunity for them to actually work with the teacher one-on-one and have a better the ESL teacher have a better understanding of them. And that's super important because ESL students are usually shy, but then with them just working with the ESL teacher, it gives them an opportunity for them to work with them one-on-one and have goals for each of them and try to work with them and the time that you have to work with them. So that's really important to have like you can be able for this you'll be able to focus with them one-on-one and improve them in their English each day. And the last bullet point, it's building a community. And for this, ESL pullout classes offer a supportive environment for students to enhance their language skills. Many ESL students feel frustrated in regular classrooms where they struggle to understand and participate fully. In ESL classes, teachers adjust the fit language to fit the students' proficiency levels, allowing them to engage more actively. Um, for this point, what it means basically is that ESL students struggle in a regular classroom, and it's so true because I used to be in ESL or in ELL that would struggle in a regular classroom understanding what's going on. So, and struggle to participate fully in the classroom. And so, and one of the things that the teachers were having trouble to do was adjusting assignments in the regular classroom for me. Obviously, a teacher's not going to adjust just one full assignment just because of me, and there's all the students the teacher has to worry about. So I feel that that's really important, that if you have like a small group, like I was talking about instruction in small groups, it's basically building a community with the students to enhance their language skills. And like even in that community, the students are gonna like um have a supportive environment, which is really important because they're gonna feel supported by the school, by the teachers, and that's something that the ESL students will have as a foundation for them to help them succeed in the classroom and in their future careers. And that's really important for ESL students. So those were the points for why it's important, why Pullout is important in ESL. What are the cons for pulling out ESL students? Um, for this, I have also has some three ideas that I thought that were really important. And basically, the first bullet point was feeling left out. ESL students might feel ignored and left out because they're being taken out of a regular classes. And I can relate to this because it's something that I felt when I was an ELL or ESL student back in the day. And usually in my mind, I was like, why are they taking me out? Like we're doing something fun in the classroom. And so in my mind, I was feeling left out, and I was feeling why are they just pulling me out? Like what about the other students? And so that was a point where I thought it was important to point out in uh, this lesson, because I thought it's really important that students feel involved in the classroom as well. Because if you're just pulling them out every single time, like what are they learning in the classroom? What are they're missing that experience in the classroom that I was unfortunately to be a part of. So, and that's something that it's really important that teachers could focus on, and some of the things that students might be feeling in when they're being pulled out of a regular classroom. And for a second bullet point is ESL groups are strictly divided. And what that means is adding a student with a low language skills to a group of high language skills is ineffective and does not support language acquisition goals, ultimately reducing the flexibility of the ESL teacher. So what this means is that when you're in the ESL group, when you're being pulled out, you get stuck in a room. You get in a room with the ESL teacher with all the ESL students who are struggling, who will need to improve their language. So basically, each ESL student is going to be in a different reading proficiency or language proficiency, and not each of them are going to be in the same level. And so this could be a problem for the ESL teacher, because if you're focusing on one student, you're going to be all over the place with each of the students, and like it's going to create like a divided group, and it's not going to be like a whole group that should be working together. And that's something that's really important, because each student, like we want all the students to be on the same page, which is probably impossible because each student learns differently. And so one of the things that we can do for that is you know, having like a specific lesson for like one full group that they can learn something new every single day. And then when that time comes, you can work with them one-on-one on where they're at in their level of reading or speaking, listening, or writing. And so I thought that was something important as well. One of the cons for ESL Pullout. And then the last bullet point was students miss class time, which is I feel like the most important one for me, because classroom teachers may find the situation problematic when students regularly prioritize ESL lessons over the regular classes. This is likely the most significant drawback of the Pullout project, as students may miss tests or important demonstrations, and ESL teachers may not always be able to accommodate these absences for important classroom events. So like I was mentioning before, is like basically feeling left out. Um, the students are going to be missing so much in the classroom. They're going to be missing lessons, tests, activities, maybe even half of the parties, like maybe they have parties for like Christmas or something. And like those are the things that are the cons for this, because when you pull out a student, like they're gonna be missing so much, even important lessons that they need to know in order to move on to the next level. So I thought this is really important and something that we could probably do something different or could affect the student in the ESL pullout. So some assessment strategies. There were many assessments that I thought related to the pulling out students, but I found these three that I thought that were important or that could more relatable to ESL pullout. And the first one that I thought was validity assessment, and I thought this was important because when we pull out students, we try to measure what the bullet points say, and basically that is measures exactly what it proposes to measure. Like, what are we measuring for them? What is it? Where is it that we want them to end up? And the second bullet point about below validity assessment says does not measure irrelevant contaminating variables. The third one says relies as much as possible on empirical evidence, which is performance. And basically we get to measure the performance. Where are they at? What are the parts that we need to work on? How are they doing on these assignments, tests, and basically see their overall performance in the classroom and the ESL pullout. And then involves performance that samples the test criterion, which is the objective. Are they meeting the objective? What is it that they're struggling on the objective that we may need to change or teach differently? And then the last one offers useful, meaningful information about a test taker's ability. And this is super important because we get to for this assessment we get to see where what test works for the student. So we get to choose a test that specifically works for the students and that's working for them, that's making them improve their learning knowledge every single day. So I thought that was really important. And for the washback assessment, I thought it was also important and connects more to the ESL pullout. And basically what it talks about is positively influences what and how teachers teach. And that's really important because the assessment for ESL pullout is basically that why we're pulling them out. What is the influence that we have on the students and in the teacher and how we teach, like how are we teaching it to them, how are they processing the language or the information. So I thought that's really important. The second point was positively influences what and how learners learn. And that's super important because if we don't know, as teachers, we don't know what we're teaching, what are the students learning? So that assessment is also really important for that. And the third point is offers learners a chance to adequately prepare. Last one is for washback assessment is gives learners feedback that enhances their language development. And this is super important because without the feedback, students aren't going to be able to move on. Like what are they going to be learning? They may without the feedback, they're not going to be able to learn their mistakes to improve on that every single day. So that's really important. And then the last one, I feel like is the most common one, is performance-based assessment. Where are they at? How are they performing in certain areas in their language proficiency? So I thought that was really important. Like how are they doing the oral reports, presentation, demonstrations, written assignments, portfolios? These assignments can both process several drafts of writing sample and team projects, and stuff like that. So how is that going for them? What are the parts that they need to work on for that? So those are some of the assessment strategies that I thought were the most common ones for ESL pullout. And here are my references.